Charlton Athletic striker Daniel Kanu is currently out on loan at League 2 side at Walsall FC, and he's doing very well, nearly into double figures for goals in the league so far this campaign. And again, we're coming around to the January transfer window. Will it happen to Walsall for a fourth season on the bounce where their lone striker is recalled and then they tail off in the second half of the campaign? If you do go on to enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 140 likes on today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Let me know down below what club do you support and would you like to see your club try and sign at Daniel Kanu this January transfer window. If you're a Charlton fan or a Walsall fan, what do you think as well is the best thing that should happen for Kanu's development? Let's waste no further time and get straight into it. So Daniel Kanu is 21 years of age, and if you have a look at his League 2 campaign so far, then he has played 16 games so far this season, starting 15 of those. He's played nearly 1,300 minutes where he has scored at 9 goals so far this campaign. He's averaged a goal every 141 minutes, which is amongst one of the higher sort of best ratios in the division. He averages 2.3 shots per game, and that also accumulates to 1.4 shots on target per game. He has missed 8 big chances in total so far this campaign, but still does have a 25% goal conversion rate. So 1 in every 4 shots of Daniel Kanu's is ending up in a goal, which is a very, very good return, especially for a young striker. He's yet to contribute an assist so far this campaign, but actually only averages 18 touches per game, so he doesn't really get the ball that much. He's not really too involved in the build-up play, but you put the ball in and around the box and Daniel Kanu is going to score goals. He has a 70% accurate pass rate, which I think for a striker is pretty solid. 67% in the opposition half as well is pretty good. Defensively, he's not going to bring you loads, in all honesty. He has 2.2 balls recovered per game, but he's not going to contribute that much defensively. Going forward in terms of his dribbles and his duels, he has a 47% successful dribble rate, which I think is pretty solid for the type of striker that he is. He wins 42% of his ground duels, but only 18% of his aerial duels. That is certainly the stat that is letting him down a little bit as of right now. He is also offside over more than 1 time per game as well, which you don't particularly want to see, but he's a striker that plays on the last man, as we'll find out later on in today's video, so that is at times going to bring offsides as well. Now, for those who don't know, I am obviously a Bradford City fan, and looking at our striking options going into this January transfer window, Daniel Kanu is exactly the type of striker that I would like to see Bradford City try and sign, because our strikers simply haven't scored enough league goals so far this campaign. Will Swan has scored 4 in the league and hasn't scored since the beginning of September. Stephen Humphreys has just 2 league goals and hasn't scored since the beginning or the middle of October. Callum Kavanagh yet to score in the league so far this campaign, and the same can be said about Andy Cook. So a striker who scores goals will certainly be the difference between Bradford City potentially getting promoted or not this campaign. So somebody like a Daniel Kanu, I think, would be a great signing for Bradford City. But again, that is just on paper. But is there a possibility that he could go and be playing regularly for Charlton in the Championship? You look at their striking options, they obviously have a decent amount in terms of numbers. They have Tyrese Campbell, Miles Lieburn, Tanto Oluwafe, Charlie Kelman and Matty Gordon. So that's 5 strikers who can obviously play as a striker. I know people like Tyrese Campbell can play in other positions, and they've got the likes of Kanu out on loan. They've got Mbik and also Hadme as well. I know Hadme is not doing particularly well at Stevenage. They've also got Kaheem Dixon, but I feel like you look at the players who are currently out on loan, the most likely to return and play for Charlton would be Daniel Kanu. I know this season Matty Gordon's had his injury problems. I think Charlie Kelman's also had the odd 1 or 2 as well, but there's just not been enough goals so far this season from the Charlton front line. We look at their top goal scorers. You've got Sonic Area on 5, and then after that it's Harvey Nibbs, who's a winger, on 2 goals. Then you've got 2 defenders in Gillespie and Bree also on 2 goals. Some of the other strikers, the likes of Tyrese Campbell, Miles Lieburn, Isaac Oluwafe and Charlie Kelman, all just on 1 goal each so far this campaign. And I don't think Matty Gordon has scored for Charlton so far this season in the Championship. So it's clear to see that Charlton do need a striker who can score goals, but a step up from League 2 into the Championship is absolutely massive, as Stoke found out last campaign with Nathan Law. Obviously, it has been a bit of a repetitive thing for Walsall. Obviously, this season it could potentially be happening with Daniel Kanu. Last campaign, we all know about the story with Nathan Law and about how Walsall massively fell off a cliff after he left. The season before that, it happened with Freddie Draper as well, and even a year or 2 before that, it happened with Danny Johnson. So Walsall will be hoping they can keep hold of their man, but I think from a Walsall point of view, surely the fans are now at the point of, we've got to stop loaning these strikers who are going to come in, score a load of goals and then leave us in January. Surely we have to go and splash the cash and actually try and sign one of these on a permanent basis. Now obviously you're not going to get any of the players that I've mentioned on a permanent deal. I mean, you could probably get Danny Johnson back, but he's long gone. He's well past it now, isn't he? But in terms of Draper, Lowe, and now Daniel Kanu, I don't see Walsall being able to sign them on a permanent deal, especially the first two that I've mentioned. But I think Charlton believe in Daniel Kanu, and that's the reason why I don't think, if he is to stay at Walsall, it'll be a permanent. I think he'll either stay there for the remainder of this season or he'll be a loan to a League One side. I also can't see him playing regularly for Charlton in the Championship, given the big names that they've got and the money that they've spent on some of these strikers. The likes of Charlie Kelman and Oluwafe have come in for, I think Oluwafe was 1.5 million and Kelman was what, 5 million, something like that. So they're not just going to write their strikers off after 6 months, and it does make sense really for Kanu to stay out on loan and keep developing. But will that be in League 2? Will that be in League 1? Let me know what you think down below. Now, I did mention earlier about Daniel Kanu and about how he likes to play on the last man, try and get in behind, all that sort of stuff. You can see here in Walsall's most recent win away at Harrogate, in terms of average positions, he was the highest Walsall man up the pitch. In the match prior to that one, where they played at home to Bromley, again, the highest man up the pitch, taking up quite a central position in both of these games. And then even a couple of games before that, at home to Shrewsbury, again, the furthest man up the pitch for Walsall. So he likes to try and stretch opposition defenders, he likes to try and harry them and get at them, and I do think for a lot of League One clubs he would be a good signing, but you don't want to stop his development because he's doing very well at Walsall. I think it's fair to say he's on track without any injuries to hit 20 goals potentially this campaign, and Charlton from their point of view will be hoping they can have a striker, go out on loan, get 20 league goals in League 2 and then maybe come back and compete in the first team squad next campaign. But the problem is, if Charlton do recall him, they then need to be probably send him out on loan to a League One club where he's going to play regular first team football. You look at the options in League One, there's not many clubs where he's going to be a guaranteed player every single week, and obviously is he going to be playing necessarily in a similar style to Walsall where he's going to be the last man, as we can see here? It's a lot of factors that you can't really take a gamble with. Now obviously there's 3 different angles that we could look at this from. From a Charlton Athletic point of view, I think it makes sense from their point of view to maybe recall him and test him out at League One level. From a Walsall point of view, they'll absolutely be hoping that they can keep him because he's obviously doing very well. They're 9 goals so far this campaign, gets lots of shots off, converts a decent amount of those shots as well. And I think if Walsall are to be successful this campaign, they need to keep a hold of Daniel Kanu. But then there's also the general sort of opinion, which is what I would give here. And I personally think that we've seen history repeat itself far too many times, that the likelihood of Daniel Kanu going to a League One club and continuing his form is not very high. I would say it's very rare that you see a player play at one level, then in halfway through the season get recalled and make a step up into the next level and they just continue their form. You've got to be a very special player for that to happen, and I don't think that's the case with Daniel Kanu. I think it makes perfect sense for him to stay at Walsall, but I have a really bad feeling that he's not going to do that. I think he's going to end up at a League One club somewhere like a Northampton or a Burton potentially, is my opinion. Even a Wimbledon I guess would make a lot of sense, you know, the Nathan Asimwe link as well potentially. Who knows? Let me know what you think down below. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed it, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 140 likes as I mentioned at the start of today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. What do you want to happen with Daniel Kanu? And then what do you also think will happen with Daniel Kanu? What is the best for his development? Thank you all for watching though. Have a great rest of your day and I'll see you very soon for another one.